Have you ever felt it? That electrifying moment when a stranger's gaze locks with yours across a crowded room, and the universe itself seems to pause. It's a feeling that defies logic, a sense of profound recognition, as if you've known this soul across 1,000 lifetimes. You tell yourself it's destiny, a divine appointment, the missing piece of your puzzle finally found. But what if I told you that this overwhelming force, this magnetic pull you believe is love, is actually the most powerful illusion you will ever face? What if the person you're falling for isn't truly them, but a forgotten, unhealed part of yourself, calling out from the depths of your own soul? This isn't just a thought, it's a sacred key to understanding every relationship you've ever had and ever will have. If this message is already vibrating within you, let the universe know by liking this video and share your own story of fated encounters in the comments below. Because you are about to embark on a journey of profound awakening. Type "I am ready" to signal your soul's alignment with this truth. Let's begin this sacred journey with a truth that may feel unsettling, a truth that most will spend their entire lives running from, yet it holds the very essence of liberation. The intense, almost supernatural connection you feel for that one special person. It isn't about who they are. It's not about their smile, their intellect, or the way they make you feel seen. It is about what their energy, their frequency, awakens within the deepest, most hidden chambers of your spirit. You didn't just fall for her, you fell into a reflection of your own inner world. This powerful, undeniable chemistry, this feeling of coming home, is not a random act of fate. It is a projection, a movie cast from the projector of your unconscious mind onto the screen of another human being. This single realization, this divine insight, is the first step toward reclaiming your power and ending the cycle of painful, confusing relationships forever. The great spiritual cartographer of the psyche, Carl Jung, gave this force a name. He called it the Anima. The Anima is the divine feminine archetype, the inner woman that every man carries within his soul, residing in the vast, uncharted territory of his unconscious. She is not a person you meet in the outside world. She is a psychic force, an eternal blueprint of your desire that has been with you since the moment of your birth. Think of her as a composite being, a mosaic of every feminine energy you have ever encountered. Her foundation was laid by the vibration of your mother. Her colors were painted by the women you admired from afar, and her form was sculpted by the cultural stories and images that defined beauty, mystery, and affection throughout your life. She is the reason why, out of 1,000 faces in a crowd, one will suddenly shine with an otherworldly light, a light that seems to call directly to you, and you alone. Her face hits differently, because it is, in truth, a face you have always known. But before you romanticize this idea, before you believe this is simply about love or lust, you must understand the dual nature of this divine energy. Listen closely, for this is where the path of the boy diverges from the path of the man. This journey is not about finding a partner, it is about finding your own identity, about uncovering the hidden architecture of your own soul. You do not simply fall in love with someone who resonates with your anima. You project the anima onto them. And what you project is the most potent, most convincing, and most dangerous illusion you will ever face in your spiritual journey. She becomes the canvas upon which your entire inner world, your hopes, your fears, your unresolved wounds, and your highest potentials is painted in vivid, breathtaking color. And this, my friend, is where the danger lies. This is the sacred trap, because the image you are so powerfully attracted to isn't entirely real. According to the timeless wisdom of Jung, the anima is not a person. She is a psychic force, an archetypal energy. She is chaos and comfort, desire and fear, the siren's call and the mother's embrace all at once. She is the forgotten part of you. When a woman enters your life who carries a vibrational resemblance, not a physical one, but an energetic one to this inner archetype, your soul screams in recognition. The projection begins instantly and unconsciously. You fall, but you don't fall in love. You fall into a trance. You fall into a projection. Now, let's descend deeper into this truth, for this is where the shadows lengthen. Jung's wisdom did not stop at romance. He understood the profound spiritual peril involved. He revealed that your anima, if left unintegrated and unconscious, possesses the power to ruin you. She can make you chase phantom illusions for a lifetime, mistaking the flicker of projection for the eternal flame of true love. She can render you emotionally weak, reactive, irrational, and desperately needy. She doesn't care if the woman in front of you is a vibrational match for your highest good. She only cares that the woman feels familiar, that her frequency activates the old, unresolved patterns. The unintegrated anima only seeks to repeat the drama it knows. She doesn't care if the connection will lead to your growth or your destruction, only that she matches the ideal your unconscious mind craves. So, what happens? What is the pattern that has defined so many lives? You meet someone. You feel that cosmic click, that undeniable spark, that sensation you can't logically explain. But you must understand, this is not about true compatibility. It is about psychic chemistry, and chemistry is not truth. Chemistry is memory. Chemistry is projection. It is the unconscious mind whispering, there she is. She feels like the version of love I've always imagined, the one who can finally heal my old wounds and make me whole. And in that moment, you lose control. You place her on a pedestal, transforming a human being into a goddess, a savior. You obsess, you overgive. You betray your own needs, your own boundaries, your own inner truth, all in a desperate attempt to keep the illusion alive. And inevitably, you suffer. You suffer because the woman you think you love is only partly real. The rest of her, the part you are truly addicted to, is made of the ghosts of your unresolved past. Jung warned with profound clarity that if a man does not consciously turn inward and confront his anima, she will control him from within, like a puppet master pulling invisible strings. She will orchestrate his emotional life, making him perpetually reactive and irrational. He will become a man addicted to the fleeting high of external beauty, perpetually hungry for validation from others, and tragically blind to the red flags that his own intuition is screaming at him to see. This man will not truly love women. He will worship the fantasy of them. And that is not love, that is possession. That is the slow, agonizing path of self-destruction. Now, pause. Breathe into this moment, because perhaps this story already sounds painfully familiar. Perhaps as you listen, you are remembering the girl you couldn't forget, the one you still dream about, the one who felt like home even as she shattered your world into a million pieces. Ask yourself this sacred question. Was it truly love, or was your unconscious mind just craving the woman who most closely mirrored your own inner void? Jung believed that the anima isn't inherently evil, but she is dangerous when she remains in the shadows. She is not meant to be projected onto others. She is meant to be integrated within you. She is a divine messenger, sent to teach you about your own depths, not to rule you through the intoxicating fever of infatuation. And right here, in this moment of questioning, is where everything can shift. This is where your awakening begins. Because the moment you become aware of her, the moment you can see the projection for what it is, the illusion begins to crack. You start to realize, with a clarity that is both terrifying and liberating, that you weren't choosing women, you were choosing wounds, you were choosing patterns. You were unconsciously chasing closure for old heartbreaks through new connections, hoping someone else could heal what was yours to resolve. The women you loved, the ones who broke you, and the ones you broke, were all teachers, not because of who they were, but because of what they triggered within you. That ache, that deep yearning, that feeling of emptiness that was never about them. It was about you. Jung wrote that to truly become whole, a man must descend into the depths of his own unconscious. He cannot run from the shadows. He must walk into them. He must face the anima. He must learn to see her clearly, not as an external savior, but as an internal aspect of his own being. The goal is not to banish her, but to understand her, to integrate her divine energy into his conscious self. Because only then will he stop confusing women for salvation. Only then will he stop searching for a mother, a muse, or a mirror in his partners, and finally start relating to them as sovereign human beings, not as characters in his unwritten fantasy. When you integrate your anima, you stop falling for illusions. You stop confusing chaos for chemistry. You stop needing a woman to validate your worth, because you have finally reclaimed what she once represented for you: your sensitivity, your creativity, your intuition, your very wholeness. You finally become the man who is no longer hypnotized by beauty, but who sees it clearly. You become the man who no longer needs her love to feel complete, because he is already whole. And let me tell you, that man is rare. That man is dangerous. He is dangerous to the old world of illusion and codependency, because he cannot be manipulated by attention. He does not chase drama. He does not collapse under rejection. He loves without losing himself. He walks away when his peace is threatened, not because he doesn't feel, but because he finally understands what he's feeling. So let me ask you something uncomfortable, something that could change the very frequency of your being. When you think about her, the one who holds such power over your heart, is it love or is it projection? Did she truly deserve your loyalty, or did she just happen to carry the shape of the woman your inner world had been longing for? Until you can honestly answer this, you will fall again and again and again. Each time you will call it fate. Each time you will call it love. When in truth it was just your unconscious mind pulling the strings, feeding you dreams and keeping you asleep. Carl Jung didn't teach us to fear the anima. He taught us to face her, to question our deepest instincts, to separate the truth from the trance. He taught us to realize that the most powerful force in a man's life is not a woman, it's his idea of her. And that is what keeps him a boy. But now, you are not a boy anymore. You are awakening. And once you awaken, you cannot unknow. You begin to see differently. You begin to choose differently. You begin to reclaim the parts of yourself you thought only she could give you. You realize that the feeling you were chasing in her was always waiting to be found in you. And that is when everything begins to change. You've awakened. You've seen the pattern. You understand now that your desire has never been random. It has always been precise, predictable, designed by the sacred blueprint of your unconscious. And this realization changes everything. You no longer walk through life blindly, pulled by attraction like a leaf in the wind. You begin to watch yourself, and that is where your true power begins. Because the moment you observe your desire, you no longer become enslaved by it. Carl Jung knew that the moment you pause before the pull, before the infatuation, before the obsession, you open a doorway to self-mastery. You're not rejecting emotion, you're decoding it. You're not shaming your attraction. You're trying to understand what it's trying to show you. Because let's be honest, that woman you fell for, the one who intoxicated you, the one who filled your mind when you were trying to sleep, what did she really offer? Was it love? Or was it the illusion of something finally being complete? Jung would say it was neither. She was a messenger. She carried the scent of your forgotten self, the parts of your soul you disowned long ago, your creativity, your vulnerability, your softness, your trust, your profound need to be held, to be seen not as a man who must conquer the world, but as a human who longs to rest. And she awakened it all. But here's the paradox. When you haven't made peace with those inner pieces, you won't recognize them as yours. You'll think she brought them. You'll think she gave you that feeling. You'll believe she is the missing half. And that's how men lose themselves. They abandon their own power to worship the woman who simply reflected their unlived self. So what's the cure? What is the path to true freedom? Integration, shadow work, reflection, silence. You must ask the questions most men never dare to ask. What is it I really want from her? What is the emotion I'm truly chasing? What do I think she completes inside of me? Because if you can name it, you can claim it. You can go find it within, and that is the work. This is why Jung's wisdom was so feared and so misunderstood, because it required a brutal, unwavering honesty. It required you to admit, I was never in love with her. I was in love with what she made me feel. And even that was never about her. It was about me. It was what I longed for, what I feared, and what I had given away. This is the moment you start to reclaim your soul. You remember she isn't the light. She was only the mirror. You are the light. And this realization, as empowering as it is, can break you. Because you'll start to revisit every love you ever thought was real, every heartbreak you called destiny, every what if you held on to. And you'll see it all for what it was. Not fate, but psychology. Not magic, but memory. Not her, but you. This can create a profound grief. You'll feel the death of 1,000 illusions. You'll want to run back to the comfort of the dream, but don't. Stay awake, stay grounded. You are not dying, you are being reborn. Because now, when you meet a woman, you will not project, you will perceive, you will not fall, you will connect, you will not worship, you will witness, and she will feel it. She will feel that you don't need her, and that will make her respect you. She will feel that you are whole, and that will make her curious. She will feel that you see her clearly, and that will scare her, because most people have never truly been seen. But this is where real relationships begin. Not in fantasy, not in trauma bonding, not in codependency, but in clarity. When a man knows who he is, the game changes. He no longer dates to escape loneliness. He no longer fears rejection. He no longer fights for attention, because he no longer gives himself away for crumbs of validation. He brings presence, he brings depth, he brings stillness. And that, my friend, is rare. That is what the world doesn't prepare you for. They teach you how to chase, how to impress, how to seduce. But no one teaches you how to be still, how to see a woman for who she is, and decide from a place of wholeness if she belongs in your life. That kind of man is powerful, because he's not ruled by hormones, trauma, or projections. He is ruled by clarity, and clarity is a weapon in a world addicted to illusion. So let me ask you again, who are you really attracted to? Her, or the version of you she brings to life? And if that's the case, why not bring that version of you to life on your own? Why not awaken your creativity without her? Why not return to your depth, your softness, your chaos, and own it? Why not become the man you keep hoping she will see? Because that's the secret. When you stop needing her to validate your soul, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying, but because you're real. And people, they don't trust perfection. They don't trust performance. But they trust presence. They trust wholeness. They trust the man who no longer seeks outside what he's already found within. That man is rare. That man is grounded. That man is free. And when he finally chooses to love, it's not from a wound. It's not from a script. It's not from projection. It's from truth. It's from strength. It's from wholeness. And that kind of love is not just rare, it's unshakable. And now, we arrive at the final transformation. You've pulled back the veil. You've stood at the edge of your desire and refused to fall into it blindly. But the journey doesn't end with awareness. It begins there. Because now, you must learn how to live with this new understanding. Not as a concept, but as a practice. A new foundation for how you relate to women and to yourself. You see, one of Jung's most powerful ideas was this: the things we fail to integrate will return to us, not as choices, but as fate. Which means, if you don't consciously choose to work with your projections, they will choose you over and over again. That's why men keep falling for the same kind of woman. That's why heartbreak feels like a cycle, not an isolated event. Because the psyche is always trying to complete the circle, always trying to restore what you've left behind. And if you don't integrate the anima, the feminine side of your psyche, you will spend your entire life seeking her out in every woman you meet. This is not romantic, this is tragic. Because what you're really doing is outsourcing your soul, asking someone else to carry what you've disowned. And they can't. It's not their job. It was never meant to be. So how do you integrate her? Not by chasing, not by finding the right woman, not by seduction or validation, but by going inward. By inviting in the parts of you that are soft, emotional, chaotic, and intuitive, and allowing them to coexist with the masculine traits you've been taught to idolize. That's the alchemy Jung spoke of. That's individuation. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. And wholeness, my friend, is magnetic. in a way that no surface charm can ever be. Because now, you're not a man looking to be completed. You are a man who stands complete and invites others in, without demand. That shifts everything. You're no longer enslaved by romantic longing. You're no longer paralyzed by rejection. You're no longer obsessed with why she doesn't want you, because now you ask a more powerful question. Do I even want her, now that I see clearly? This is where many men fall silent, because the fantasy no longer holds. And what's left behind is not just clarity, but grief. Grief for the years spent chasing illusions. Grief for the emotional energy spent trying to win someone's attention. Grief for the parts of yourself you abandoned to seem more desirable. This grief is sacred. Don't run from it. Feel it. Sit with it. Let it wash through you like a storm, because it is the death of the old self. And on the other side of that death, you will feel peace. The kind of peace that doesn't come from being loved, but from finally loving yourself, not in some superficial affirmation, but in the deep, brutal, humbling acceptance of your full self. You no longer see women as salvation. You see them as mirrors. You no longer believe in the one. You believe in resonance, alignment, and mutual clarity. You no longer think love is about rescue. You know it's about presence, responsibility, and spiritual growth. You stop asking, how do I get her? And start asking, who am I when no one is watching? Because that's the man she will feel and respect. And this doesn't make you cold, it makes you dangerous. Because your love is no longer cheap, your energy is no longer scattered, your presence is no longer a performance. It's real, it's rooted, it's rare. And that's what makes the difference. The women you used to obsess over, you'll see them now and you'll smile. You'll remember the chaos they stirred inside you, and then you'll walk past them with grace. Not because they're beneath you, but because you no longer need them to reflect what you've already reclaimed. You've integrated, you've evolved. And here's what Jung would want you to remember. Desire is not the enemy, but unconscious desire is a trap. When you understand what pulls you, you are free to choose your direction, instead of being dragged through life by emotion disguised as destiny. This is true masculine power, and no one can take it from you. Not the rejection, not the heartbreak, not the ghosted texts or the maybe someday goodbyes, because none of it defines your worth anymore. You define your own value through stillness, through clarity, through alignment with your inner truth. This is what turns a man from lost to legendary, from wounded to whole. And if you've listened this far, you are already walking that path. So let me leave you with this. You were never weak for desiring her. You were simply unconscious of why. Now you know. Now you are aware. And now you get to choose. To chase again, or to rise above. To seek her approval, or to become your own source. To repeat the cycle, or to become the man who no longer runs from his shadow, but walks with it, hand in hand, into a life no longer ruled by projection, but built by self-mastery. This is your turning point. Will you take it?